Consider the lilies of the field, and how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you, that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Matthew chapter 6, verse 28 and 29. Have you ever seen a flower struggle to grow? Have you ever seen a lily straining and stressing about becoming beautiful? Of course you have. In these few words, Jesus reveals something extraordinary about the nature of true growth and manifestation or reality creation. And today we're going to discover why worry is not necessary, and it's actually blocking your natural unfoldment. So follow, like, and subscribe, and get ready for this Bible deep dive. So let's start at consider the lilies, right? The word consider here is katamantanos in Greek, and it means to observe thoroughly, right? To really study, to learn from. What do we know about how lilies grow, right? Well, first of all, we know that they grow withinward, outward, right? They start off in a seed, you give them a little bit of water, right? Put them in a napkin, germinate them, they get the little thing pop out, and then they grow up and continue more. So they grow within, outward, right? And then they follow an inherent pattern, because that inherent pattern is, they put them in a little pattern, and you put them down in the thing, and you give them a little seed water, and you give them a little bit of sunlight, and then he starts to grow up. And then all lilies pretty much look all the same, other than maybe some variations in color and things of that nature. Right? They also respond natural to law, because unlike humans, right, they don't have any conscious choice. This is what they do. They pop up out the ground. They get them a little bit of water. You give them a little sunlight. They grow into a lily, right? That's responding to natural law, because they're expressing their nature fully. They don't have any other choice. Human beings were the only things created in God's image that has a choice of what it wants to create. Everything else just naturally has to fulfill itself. Nature, you don't see grass saying, oh, I'm about 5 inches tall, I'm good, I don't need to grow no more. You don't see deer or cows or whatever saying, oh, I think I'm about 200 pounds, I don't want to keep going to 250, right? No, everything else naturally grows as much as it can grow. So when you worry, you're kind of like pulling a flower up to try to make it grow faster. You're actually interfering with the natural law of the thing. And this is what he says when he says, they toil not, neither do they spin. Toil here means anxious labor, right? Effort, born of worry, doubt, right? That's what toil means. And then notice Jesus doesn't say that they don't grow. He just says that they don't toil. And here's the difference between natural unfoldment and forced growth. Right? Being versus trying. Expressing versus striving. And like salt that naturally preserves and light that naturally illuminates, your true nature naturally expresses itself when you stop interfering. Yet Solomon in all his glory is not arrayed like one of these. Solomon was the wealthiest king in the world, right? In history, right? But yet Jesus says that simple flour exceeds his glory. Well, why is that? It's because King Solomon's glory was acquired, and a lily's glory is inherent. It naturally unfolds itself. I want you to observe nature's effortless expression, right? Look at the flowers blooming, the creek a-creaking, the geese a-flocking, the rivers are running, right? And then I want you to notice when you're toiling unnecessarily. When are you worrying and doubting unnecessarily? Practice trusting in your natural unfoldment. And each time you catch yourself worrying, I want you to say, like the lilies of the field, my good unfolds naturally when I align with divine law. And then share in the comments what happened. And like always, follow, like, and subscribe for more Bible deep dives.